Hello again, it's Garson, and today we're talking about the Wizard subclass, Bladesingers. It's coming out with patch 8. I was chomping at the bit to get my hands on this way back in December. I did an hour-long video of it because this is probably my favorite new subclass, and I personally think, Wizard elitism aside, literally this is the strongest new subclass, alright? So without further ado, let's get into some mayhem real quick. And we'll show you the power of Bladesinger. Alright. Okay, so let's say I was built for acuity, and I just love hitting people in the face with Booming Blade. There you go, you can do 2 Booming Blades. Oh, he's dead now. Okay, well, like I said, let's Blade Song. That doesn't cost any actions. And now we have just a nice 26 armor class with no armor or shields. That's cool. Alright, we'll run up to him, we'll Booming Blade him as well. Tons of damage. See if my offhand can strike now that he's on the ground. That also adds some acuity. We're just ramping it up, aren't we? Come on here, robot. Come on, Robbie. Robbie the robot. Get over here. Alright. If you can even hit me before shield happens, you win a prize. That's right. Who's next? Impera. I'm gonna ensnare him. Not likely. Not likely. Alright. I want everybody to gather around. Come on now. Don't worry, Aronson. You're not dead just yet. Go for it. Jumping over. Oh boy. Oh boy. I wouldn't hit them. They're Bladesingers too. Okay. So again, you have an extra attack, and you can swing as many times as you have actions and attacks, right? So that means we can get 2 Booming Blades. And another Booming Blade. Okay, but now we have this hasted action. You know what? I've built up a stupid amount of spell save DC, even with my offhand. And now we can just go Chain Lightning. Yeah! That guy's dead. That guy's got zapped. Right? And I can even swing with my offhand, because I'm a dual wielder. Look at that. That's so cool, right? And there's just more. Maybe if I got hit, I could show you the other cool feature, Song of Defense, but, well, I don't know. You tell me. Alright, come here, buddy. Impero. There it is. So, if I were to actually get hit, eventually, right? Let's just say this guy does 15 damage on average. I could negate that entirely. Took 0 damage. This guy's like, what the Alright, and as a reward, since I didn't take damage, I don't lose acuity, right? So as a reward for doing that, let's go ahead and drop a fireball on him. There you go. And I can also cast cantrips, right? There we go. We're a nice, cool little spell blade here. I can even run up to him, and with my dual wielding, I can swing another sword and have a whole bunch of fun. Look at that. Alright, so I'm not going to drag this out. Let's reload. We're talking about Bladesingers. I have way too much to talk about this. We're going to have to split it into different videos. For now, a big thank you for watching. Alright, I will try and condense a lot of this and explain why I think this is the strongest new subclass beyond the wizard elitism, but there will be some, okay? Keep that in mind. You want to support the channel, though? I really appreciate you watching. That's already good enough. Stick it to the end, and if you have any questions, comments, I'd love to read them. If you want to support the channel, we'll talk about it later, right? For now, let's get into Blade Song as best I can, as little as I can, right? Patch 8 does bring new subclasses to every class. Bladesinger is the new wizard subclass. If you want to follow along on the right-hand side, this should make it a little easier, okay? Alright, so patch 8 is under development. As you can see top left, patch 8 stress test. So this is the stress test. I don't know when it's going to get finished. Hopefully they fix some of the bugs. There's actually some with Bladesingers right now, but let's just go over what we can, and just keep in mind some of this is subject to change. Actually, some of this coming from D&D tabletop game has changed thanks to Larian's homebrew. Okay, I'm going to answer your questions. I'm compiling them just like the other videos, but today we're just going to focus on the new subclass briefly, okay? I say briefly. Wizards. Let's go over some facts about wizards. First off, intelligence is the best stat. Intelligence lets you cast whatever the hell you want. You can learn new spells, all thanks to wizard. Wizards are the unique defining feature of wizard, is they can learn all these spells and they can change them on the fly. Get over it. Your class sucks. My class is better. To be fair, my favorite is warlock. But I love wizards because the more I learn about the game, maybe not the in-game intelligence stat, but intelligence of the game, knowledge of the game really is the best stat. The more you learn about it, the more you realize, oh, wizards are actually like ridiculously overpowered. Okay. Wizards are the best though. Why are they so the best? Well, wizards can honestly do whatever the hell they want. It's because of the customization. Whether you multi-class or not, wizards can do a lot of things. Even before Bladesingers, I've shown videos where I've made melee wizards, even when they didn't use intelligence. If you just know what you're doing, you can make... Wizards are very customizable and can really appeal to anybody if they just knew what they were doing. Using the right subclass, using the right gear, you can really make a wizard that's focused on damaging spells or hitting with their weapon, or control spells like telekinesis, throwing people off cliffs, area spells like wall of fire. I mean, the power is in knowledge, right? They literally can do anything you brag that your class can do. Okay, maybe that's a stretch. Little elitism here, but like I said, the flexibility that comes with the knowledge of the game and the knowledge of the class, really they can do almost anything. Especially now with Booming Blade, Bladesingers and stuff, this has only gotten more exacerbated. I really love this class because I could do almost anything you can do in any other class. Maybe I can't sneak attack, maybe I need to level up a little bit of Paladin to smite, but you know what? I can go into your class and make it a hell of a lot better, because now I can smite as a wizard Paladin, right? And I can smite at the highest level, level 4, and I get Booming Blade, and I get haste. So hopefully you see where I'm going with this. Wizard Dip makes every other class better. We just did a video called Third Caster that even Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters can achieve the ability to learn haste thanks to a level 1 dip in Wizard and learning the scroll. Like, wizards really do make every class better. I really don't care what you think. They're awesome. They're so cool. But I do think wizard is such an interesting dip into other classes, whether you make it mostly wizard, one wizard, whatever wizard, right? And subclasses exist in order to nerf the wizard. Back in the day, in a long time ago, wizards used to be all wizards, right? They used to be evocation wizards, illusionist wizards, bladesinger wizards. The developers, God himself came down and smited the wizard and said, "You are too strong," and divided the wizards into subclasses. And that's why they exist. That's a true story. Don't quote me on that. All right. But let's get into more objective facts. We'll blow through these briefly. What does make a wizard strong is that they are full casters. If you mix them with, say, another full caster like druids, they get to retain those spellcasting levels and go all the way up to level 6 spells. And this does mean you get to upcast spells that could be upcasted, right? It does mean you get access to really powerful spells by learning it. Let's say I don't get to my top druid spells or wizard spells. Aha! I can just learn level 6 spells, right? So that's actually really cool for multi-classing. I can still learn Sunbeam even though I'm not going all the way into druid, right? Okay, prep spells. So just like druids and clerics, they can prep their spells, but the edge against those guys is that I can learn spells I wasn't able to learn on my level up. And even further for paladins and bards and stuff like that, how about, let's see, not paladins, but let's say with Eldritch Knights or bards, right? They learn their spells as they level up. They get to replace spells they think aren't useful anymore, but a wizard gets to keep all the spells they learn through scrolls or through leveling up, and they get to swap them on the fly and say, I don't want banishment, I want wall of fire. So again, going back to game knowledge, the more you know what you're getting into in an encounter, you can prepare ahead of time, and I really value this about clerics and druids, but especially wizards, because if I don't have the spell, I can learn it, and then I can swap it as needed, right? And you cast with the intelligence stat. So even if you dip one level in wizard, if you're learning a spell through this method using scrolls, you do have to consider, is it a spell where I'm going to need intelligence to land the spell, like chain lightning, or can I use it more of a utility spell? I could drop intelligence all entirely, but thanks to the wizard dip, I can use something like blur where I couldn't before, right? You learn a lot of spells because of this, especially as you level up a wizard. I believe you learn 2 spells out of a choice of like a huge pool of wizard spells, and then you add this on top of it. You can learn a lot, and depending on your amount of intelligence and your wizard level, you get a lot of spells you can prepare, okay? Arcane recovery also keeps you going during a long rest period. The more you invest into wizard, the more arcane recovery you can get. These literally just fill back in your spell slots, so you have technically even more spell slots per day. Of course, the defining feature of a wizard, I've already kind of gone over it, is you can learn scrolls, and I really think, even at level 1, this is a very powerful thing. You really know what you can do with it. Wizlock happens to be one of my favorite combos, combining a warlock and a wizard. Even one level of wizard can make a warlock do some crazy stuff thanks to the scroll learning. Okay, so various subclasses, they have small additions, but they have big impact. Necromancer, for instance, right? A necromancer wizard takes at level 2, they get whatever bonuses, right? They heal off of necromancy spells, but at level 6, they get the small addition of any summons that they make through necromancy, like zombies or skeletons. They get an additional summon. So where most necromancers start at level 6 with Animate Dead, actually you only get one summon. You're not much of a necromancer yet, but the necromancer subclass gets a big impact of having now 2 zombies right at the start, right? And that gets to carry forward. Let's look at evocation wizards. There's a lot of cantrips that people seem to think are difficult to land, like Sacred Flame or whatnot. Sacred Flame, do we even have it here? Sacred Flame is a cantrip that you can miss very often, but if you use an evocation wizard at level 6, you can have a big impact of never missing your cantrip. Poison Spray is another one. So all I'm trying to say is there's small additions to this very powerful class thanks to these subclasses that can have huge impacts. And here's a new one that I think is even easier to understand, and let me just demonstrate for you, right? If we level up a Bladesinger, level 2 is probably one of the most absurd subclass additions to any subclass, to any class, right? That does have that small addition, big impact. So at level 2, you get performance, you get light armor, and you get proficiency in one-hander weapons. You get to choose. Do you want light hands, light swords, like long swords rather, or scimitars, right? It's all key to the identity of what a Bladesinger is supposed to do during Bladesong. But Bladesong is this small addition that has a huge ramifications. It needs its own video, to be honest. Let me kind of break it down for you though. With a Bladesong, you get armor class and you get bonus to your constitution saving throws, which is concentration mostly, right? You get a +4. Well, this is coming from my proficiency bonus, okay? So proficiency bonus to armor class and to your constitution saving throws. You get 10 more movement, to 10 feet of more movement, okay? You have advantage on athletics checks, making it easier to, not be bullied and pushed around. That's actually pretty good. And Larian actually had a homebrew edition called Bladesong Climax, which is a whole cool movie, but a cool move, but I would have to give a whole video to Bladesong and Bladesong Climax to explain what's going on there, okay? Now there's some conditions to use Bladesong, namely, you can only use light armor or lower, which is cloth gear. You can't use shields, so you're going to see all of my guys here are just no armor, no shields, okay? And you have to be using a one-hander weapon. Doesn't mean you can't two-hand it, and I'll go over that. You get 2 charges per rest, right? And these get better as you level up, like level 5, you now have 3 charges, okay? Per long rest. And then eventually at level 6, just like a Swords Bard, you now get the regular extra attack ability that you would normally find on fighters and paladins and whatnot, right? So just by being a wizard now, you can be a full martial, attacking twice with your weapon, and you're a full caster, just like Swords Bard and Valor Bard. I find that very powerful, by the way. Okay, level 9, you get 4 song charges, and that's the max. Because at level 10, now when you're blade singing, you get blade song. So you saw me mitigate damage earlier. The way it was working is I have a new way to spend my spell slots. All of these are now damage mitigators if I choose to make them. So as long as I'm blade singing, I can take 1 spell slot, multiply it by 5, and that's how much damage I negate fully, okay? Nothing stopping it. And so 30 damage is possible if you use a level 6 spell slot. Let's think about that for a second. That's actually pretty cool. I don't need any intelligence to use Bladesong because it's based on my proficiency. And if I go to level 10 all the way into Wizard, why wouldn't you use intelligence? Well, because of the way this works, I can just be all in on strength, dex, or even charisma, however I'm multi-class or not. But if I get level 10 Wizard, I can use my spell slots for totally different things that have nothing to do with intelligence, like Shield, right? The reaction spell. Okay, I can also counter spell, and now I can mitigate damage, all thanks to Bladesong's small features, big impact, okay? So what's so OP about it? Oh, I could talk for days about this. Well, give me a second. I actually want to tell you something. Larian actually nerfed and buffed this subclass just a little bit. On tabletop, apparently, you can use cantrips with your extra attack feature. That means when I swing twice like a fighter, unlike an Eldritch Knight, I could actually swing twice just like a fighter could, but I could actually cast a Firebolt cantrip, right? For some reason, Larian, it could change, or maybe they didn't implement it yet, but on tabletop, Bladesingers can actually cast cantrips with their extra attacks. So you could swing your sword and then toss out a Shocking Grasp or a Firebolt, which I thought was really cool, but I don't see it here, right? Song used to be actually all in on intelligence. The more you invested in intelligence, made sense to me. I actually hate this change, but hey, it's better for you guys, right? Because now it's based on proficiency. So this is a bit of a nerf, because if you actually had 22 intelligence, you would have more bonuses to your armor class and your constitution. But hey, it's easier to multi-class now, so whatever. You couldn't two-hand attack during Song. It was literally like, you can two-hand, but the moment you Blade Song and attack with two hands, you're done with Blade Song. Now that's not the case, and we'll see that with like Will here. He's got great Weapon Master, he's two-handing a longsword, so everything's totally fine with Blade Song, okay? It also doesn't cost a bonus action now. So when you go to Blade Song, if you forgot to use it, you're not going to risk losing out on actions or bonus actions. If you stumbled into a fight by accident on honor mode and you can't reload, don't worry, you can still Blade Song once it's your turn, right? So it's basically just easier than ever to multi-class, which comes at a little bit of a nerf for anyone like me who's elitist and thinks intelligence deserves better, but hey, whatever. It's more fun this way and easier to get into Blade Song than otherwise. The Sword Bard comparison is pretty obvious. I'm not going to make a debate what's better, but ironically, I would say personally, I think Swords Bard, unless you're going ranged for like double crossbows, that's probably still better. You just blow your load on the inspirations and flourishes. But here, I genuinely think this is the better option if you're ironically going for swords and melee attacks, right? You get way more usage out of spell slots, shield, you get Booming Blade right from level 1, you have your proficiencies, you have everything you need to be a monster, and just like Swords Bard at level 6, you're going to get the extra attack feature, right? And just like them, you are a full caster, okay? You have way more spell variety because you're allowed to prepare your spells. I don't want this, I want this. Oh, I didn't get that on level up, I'll just learn it because I found a scroll of it. And you get Booming Blade at the start, you get extra attack like them, you're using your slots for defense now. You don't need Bardic Inspiration because you have Blade Song power, you have Arcane Recovery, you have spell slots, you have a bigger spell pool. I'm not trying to make a case of better or worse, but I do think these are actually things to note, right? And you're also a wizard, Harry. You're a wizard, Harry. Like, wizards, I can go on and on about this. I'm very biased on this. I think wizards are the strongest class, even if they're not my favorite. But I think this subclass will make it very appealing to try out wizard if you haven't already, by the way. Okay? Now, the most insane combo. If anybody is going to bug me and ask me, what's the best way to use Bladesinger and Blade Song? If you can just go a little bit into your wizard, like say level 6, the world is open. It's your oyster, okay? Because Blade Song Haste is one of the most ridiculous combos. I will try and condense this. You get armor class from both. You get insane movement from having both. You get insane concentration thanks to Blade Song, which you need to concentrate on haste. You could just haste yourself and go to town, and you get 3 attacks if you want to attack with your weapon, 1, 2 with the action, and then 3 with action, the hasted action, right? And if you were dual wielding like I did, I had a bonus action. If you had Bloodlust, you get what I'm saying. And on honor mode, that's even more important. Okay, and even better than that, I love spell blades. I love attacking with a weapon. I love using the weapon to do a magical attack. But if I want to throw out a fireball, I have 2 actions now, so I could swing twice, booming blade twice, right? And I can still throw out a disintegrate. Like I said, I built for that. You saw that earlier, right? And I have no idea how to optimize Climax yet. We'll talk about Climax when I get a better sense of what it does. It's really fascinating. I don't think it's all that great, and it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of why this subclass is broken. So yeah, if you go to level 6, you'll get extra attack, you'll have Blade Song charges, and you'll have haste, and then you can just multi-class, or you could just stay in the class like I think you should, because honestly, I could be here all day with just 12 levels of wizard. So I'll just get to the main point. No shields do not matter. We'll go over the restrictions of Blade Song in another video, but if basically, long story short, don't wear armor, don't wear a shield, okay? Even with that, you can have great armor class, especially once we're concentrating and blade songing. Okay, Boomer Blade is a natural fit. Booming Blade is absolutely disgusting. We've gone over it in many videos, answered a lot of questions. Check those out, but this is really powerful. You can build this in a variety of different ways. Okay, Haste is also just too stupid not to use it with Blade Song, okay? But you don't have to. Arcane Synergy is also great. If you're going to invest in intelligence as a wizard, you can make your weapons more stronger with Arcane Synergy, and some other highlights, right? I'm going to try and highlight using the builds what you could do with Blade Song, mixing it with other classes and whatnot. We've already seen this. Again, I would use Falar Aluv to add thunder damage to my offhand and main hand. Use Booming Blade, obviously does thunder damage. And the whole principle here is I'm building acuity with Scion's power, right? So I get better and better spell accuracy for being more and more melee based, right? So I'm not going to go too crazy with this. We're just going to haste and Blade Song. You've already seen what it can do. I'm just going to re-demonstrate this. Ta-da! Of course, I have 3 attacks if I want them. I can Booming Blade with all 3 of them. Okay. Starting combat, actually... Oh, it didn't waste it. Good. That's great. Okay. Okay. Now I can offhand with the Elemental Infusion. I just got 5 acuity. That means Disintegrate is very likely to hit, thanks to my spell save going up. Boom. Right? Like, that's a spell blade. That's a spell blade. I'm swinging with my weapon doing magical damage. It's getting stronger, and it's making it more likely that I hit with very powerful level 6 full caster spells. Okay, I'm not gonna belabor the point, but dude, I want to run this so bad. Okay, so some highlights that was going on there. Dual wield definitely works in Blade Song. Thunder acuity raises my spell save for hitting with my weapons as long as it had some thunder damage, right? Now that you have light armor, you can actually use the Helmet of Battle acuity, because that's also a light armor piece. You can use reverb to lower their dexterity saving throws and whatnot. That's why it was almost impossible to miss with Disintegrate with this build. And offhand adds acuity as well because, well, Thunder Infusion and the Falar Aluv damage. And then you could always Drake through it too, I suppose. But robes increase armor class and all of these. By the way, I want to really highlight this. This is an amazing piece of gear already. Now with Bladesingers, I think you're really going to want and value this. This raises all of your saving throws plus a 1 armor class if you concentrate, which you will because you're using haste, right? So I can add +4 to all of my saving throws, including Constitution. And when I Blade Song, that's 4 more. That's 8 concentration saving throws. Okay, it's very hard to break concentration, especially if I do something like add advantage to it. So, Gale, good job, buddy. All right, let's move on to an example where I use a Star Druid. I want to answer a question here you guys had. You can, in fact, use the Star Druid to get the Luminous Arrow. I'll pull this back just real quick. Okay, so there's the notes. You can, in fact, use Luminous Arrow as a level 1 free spell. Star maps are also technically free level 1 guiding bolts, and they do apply to the Blade Song Climax. We'll talk about it later, but let me just demonstrate. We have only Wisdom on this build, and we're using a Sylvan Scimitar to attack with Wisdom. Okay, we'll haste ourselves. Like I said, the multi-class lets us do that. We're still a full druid, full caster rather. There we go, start combat. And remember, thanks to the haste, I really like this combo because it gives us insane movement speed, right? 80 feet of movement, right? We have like crazy armor class, just like Gale did, 26 armor class. We can use 1 action to cast a really awesome spell. We can use the bonus action. Now with Guiding Bolt, it's advantage, right? Okay, and this all added some Blade Song damage charges. Again, not talking about it today, but it's actually really cool of a combo to use the Blade Song Climax. And of course, I can still always just swing with Boomer Blade twice, okay? I'm just doing tons of damage because I have Arcane Synergy. I'm using Wisdom on the Sylvan Sword here, so everything's coming together really smoothly, alright? Come on down. Also, I'm glittering and sparkly, and that's just, you know, fits the whole blade singing theme, I guess. So yeah, now that I have the Blade Song charges for my free spells and swinging, I get heals from swinging my weapon, I get damage from using level spells, I can go for a Blade Song Climax. Okay, did a little damage, did a little heal. Okay, and the funny thing is, Blade Song, if you have more charges, doesn't cost an action. So you go right back into it. That's absurd. So of course, I'll just keep Booming Blade and another Booming Blade. And if I wanted to, I'd go to level 6 Guiding Bolts, because I can upcast for a lot of damage, right? So, a really thematic build there, but I wanted to demonstrate the Sylvan Sword, the free spells you can get with the Bladesong, Climax, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's pop out the notes. I got 2 more for you. Let's say you really go less on the wizard and you want to mix it with like Kung Fu with the open hand monk. So this is going to be mostly open hand. I'll focus on wisdom again. Psychic damage and fatigue, right? We can just do lots of psychic damage with this setup, with the sword, with the fist. And then Bladesong seems a little bugged. So this is what I meant by patch 8 stress test. But also, Great Weapon Master does work with 2-handed attacks. Okay. I do have Great Weapon Master. Let me pull it out. Here we go. I have the crazy psychic damage on fist. It's being doubled up with the resonance stone. I mean, yeah. Now, I should go up to 24 with Bladesong because it's my proficiency, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. It's 20. You know, I don't know. 4 proficiency. Something's wrong, but whatever. We can always just beat the crap out of people anyway. Now, my accuracy's lower because I have Great Weapon Master, but whatever. We'll keep swinging. Yeah, there we go. And then, of course, I am a monk, so I do ridiculous damage with fists and send people flying. Yeah. So this is also pretty baller. It's mostly monk, but you're still a blade singing monk. Ooh. And Kashigo counter. Big damage. It was actually not a weapon attack. That was a fist attack, but looks cool nonetheless. Okay. And then, of course, you could do... I don't know. Yeah, smite him with the Voss sword. Pretty cool. But yeah, you can mix something like Monk's armor class coming from Wisdom, the massive power of Open Hand Monk with the Strength Elixirs, and so much more. And then finally, let's look at another 2-handed weapon user, the Justice Song. We'll use Bladesinger, mostly Bladesinger, and 4 Crown. Because a lot of people will recommend, oh, for a Paladin, you want to smite a lot, go into Swords Bard because you still get extra attack, you get more spell slots, yada yada yada. Okay, just remember, smiting has nothing to do with intelligence, charisma, and all that stuff. So as long as you can land a weapon attack, you're good to go. So without further ado, I present to you the new hotness where you can now booming smite as a mostly wizard Bladesinger, but also a crown paladin. The new crown paladin can actually make it very accurate to hit with my weapons, thanks to the channel oath charge. I can still haste because I am a wizard who can learn that, and I can Bladesong, raising my armor class ridiculously. Okay. It's also a little bugged on Paladin, I guess. I don't know. But now I have booming smites. Okay. Kapow! And he's dead. Alright, cool. That's right. You can now booming smite. We've seen that before, but I just figure I'd give you another specific Bladesinger example of doing the same thing. Alright. Now, I'm not going to do it, but this is a very... again, this is a very popular combo. On Paladins, you can go ahead and hit somebody with your weapon. Right? Let's pretend I'm not going to smite him just yet. Okay? You can use this Scoundrel Ring, and now your enchantment spells are a bonus action. So something like Hold Person could be used. I'm concentrating on haste right now, but I could hold him, and if I hold him, it's a guaranteed crit when I go to Booming Blade, and I can Booming Blade and smite at the same time for ridiculous damage. Okay? So obviously I could do that as well. But again, the emphasis here is I can show you how I lost my oath, so don't hurt Aronson as a paladin. But anyway, you can boom smite. You have the highest power Divine Smite. You still have extra stat attack. You could use the Scoundrel Ring trick. You could use the Headband of Intellect, but you really don't need Intellect unless you want more spells or land them. And you're decent at spellcasting on both Charisma and Intelligence. You use that Oath for accuracy, countering the Great Weapon Master on Bladesong. It all works, right? So I just tried to highlight some of the strengths that you can use on different classes or pure classes with the new Bladesinger, with the new Bladesong, right? And of course, before you go asking me, how do I actually level these? This is all great. It's level 12 though, but I want to see this. Well, I do too. Next run, I'm going to run a Bladesinger in Honor Mode. I try to run this so I can inspire you to run it, show you the power of something, whether it's ridiculously OP like this or just fun and in character. But we do it on live stream because more people have fun watching, getting cool ideas, telling me that they also beat Honor Mode with their cool ideas, right? And I love hearing that in the comments and chats. And I hope I've changed your opinion, or maybe you wanted to know how strong this subclass can be. I'm personally really excited about it, and I hope the patch 8 comes out quick. But it's thanks to you guys to even have it, because you guys are my sponsor. Thanks to Sunder, one of my watchers, creators. He ended up getting me access to the patch, and I'm grateful, and I want to just show you all the cool new stuff so you can have fun with it and stop watching me and go play the game, right? So thank you for watching anyway. If you want to support the channel, just keep on watching or join the live streams. If you want to support it further, I've made memberships on YouTube as low as possible, and I really appreciate you guys. So without further ado, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.